So again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys all investing the time to come. And I am your host today for the Masterclass. And just a quick version of my story and how I got here. I found myself in a really, really tough spot, emotionally, physically, and mentally. I was dealing with a 7-year illness journey, and it was very frustrating, really debilitating. I got to where I couldn't exercise anymore. I could basically not even walk to the end of the street, just shuffling around. It wasn't really what I had in mind, how I wanted to spend the rest of my days, right? So that became very depressing, very frustrating, lots of anxiety and things like that. And so the stress of all that really started getting to me. And I started eating really poorly. Plus I couldn't work out or anything. So I found myself, I gained 20 pounds in 12 months. And so I was like, something's got to change. I've got to do something. So the more I tried, the more weight I gained. There was just no sign of stopping. But thankfully, that's when I stumbled across WildFit. And I thought, I went to a masterclass just like this. And I thought, it doesn't sound like what I've done before. So I needed something different. And it said that you didn't need willpower. And my willpower button was completely broken. So I thought, I'm going to give it a try. So I did it. And then at the end of the 90 days, my life was completely transformed. Not only did I lose the 20 pounds, but that actually became a small part of the whole journey. I had more mental clarity. I had more confidence, more self-esteem. It's like my mind shifted into another gear. It was absolutely amazing. I had no idea that my diet was having such an impact, or by changing it, that I could improve my well-being so dramatically. It was amazing. I had tried for years, my whole life, to do things, to step outside my comfort zone, do things that kind of made me nervous, but I was hitting hard blocks. I could not step out and do the things I wanted to do. It wasn't happening. And then sure enough, after WildFit, after 90 days, those roadblocks were just completely gone. So it's amazing. I wasn't expecting that. So my life was so transformed. Now I'm able to do things like this that I would have never done before. And so I wanted everybody to know about it. And so I decided to become a WildFit coach so that I can help other people experience the same thing, because this is absolutely amazing. And my life was changed. And I'm hoping even what we go over today is going to help you change your life and go on a new journey towards food freedom. So, if you're in the right place, if you tried lots of diets and they haven't seemed to have the results you want, if you keep, gaining more weight, or if you have these cravings and you feel powerless over them and you can't really seem to get a handle on those, or if you want to look more confident, when you look in the mirror, you want to be more confident at the way your body looks, or just even in the way you feel, or if you want more energy or more sleep, or if you just really want to know a little bit more about food and how it works in your body, then you're in the right place. So let's put in the chat, why are you here today? So now you know why I'm here. So why are you here? What made you guys sign up for today? Just let me see in the chat. What is it that made you sign up today? My chat is not, does anybody put anything in the chat? Oh, there we go. Perfect. So food freedom, that's a good one.
My chat's gone away again.
Uh-oh.
I'm having problems with my chat.
Well, you could just tell us I know, Penny, you're not shy. If you want to just tell us.
I think I'm always hungry for great advice,
Okay.
and I don't have an issue with picking good choices or making good choices, but I always feel like there's a better way. And so I know who you are, and I respect you tremendously. So
Oh,
I wanted to hear what you had to say.
awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So, yep, other people had success. You know, you want the same thing, to lose weight without counting calories, improved health, help you reach goal. These are all really, really good reasons, guys. And WildFit can obviously help you do that. So that is great. You guys are definitely in the right place. So first of all, let's talk about why diets fail all the time. Data is absolutely clear that diets don't work. The more diets you go on, usually the more weight you gain. You might lose weight temporarily, but then you're going to get it back, and you're going to get you're going to get several pounds back more. And if you keep doing it diet after diet, those extra pounds are going to start adding up. It leads to yo-yo dieting, right? And then the diet industry blames you. Well, you're just not sticking to it. You don't have enough willpower. You're not trying hard enough. And then they start blaming you. And you've slipped up, and then you've got the lifestyle disease, and they blame you for that as well. So just so you know, people don't fail diets, diets fail people. So it's not your fault, because we have a broken food system and we have a broken diet industry as well. And some of those things that cause the diet industry to fail is counting calories. Has anybody ever been through those diets where you count calories? And you know that those can be very challenging, very tedious, because not only is it very difficult to keep track of what goes in and what goes out, it's often, very accurate, but inaccurate, but the calories also have a different purpose. There's different kinds of calories. There's good calories and bad calories. A donut doesn't act the same in your body as salmon and broccoli, right? So when you're just counting calories, it doesn't take into account the kind of calories. So that's not going to work. And then also, how many people have tried to maintain their weight with exercise? I know I did. I was an obsessive exerciser for many, many years, until I couldn't work out anymore. So then I was like, oh no, I have to find a better option, right? And so there's also the calorie restriction option, and that is never fun. So, and that actually sends the wrong signal to your body. When you restrict your calories, your body gets the message that there's a drought coming, right? And so like, uh-oh, there's famine, there's lack, we better hold on to everything we have, because we don't know when more food is coming. So that, because your body doesn't know why you're not getting enough food. So it does what it knows how to do. It's going to protect you by holding on to everything. And that's exactly opposite of what you're hoping to happen. And so it's just not fun. It feels like you're starving, and that's just not a fun way to lose weight, right? And then willpower is super challenging, because, all of a sudden they say, you join a program, like, okay, we need to remove this, 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 and this, and you're going to keep that off for 45 days. And that's a challenge, because, you've been relying on some of these food for emotional support for many, many years. And all of a sudden you have to just give those up. That's really, really challenging to do. And so, and how long do you think that that'll last? Everybody's kind of tried, like, I'm going to eat healthier. And how long does that last, right? It's really hard to keep that up when you just go cold turkey like that. And then there's the word diet. And we've kind of got a different meaning from diet than what we used to. Because diet, like if we look at the elephants have a diet, lions have a diet, cheetahs have a diet. And so, that means lifestyle. And turns out humans have a diet. But what we think of diet is temporary shift in what you're eating to get a desired result. Usually when you think I'm on a diet, you cut back on what you're eating to try to lose weight, right? But really, diet is just your way of eating. So let me know in the chat how many of you would like to permanently change your diet without having to use willpower, and for your body to just automatically go to a healthy weight and you don't feel sick and tired at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Does that sound amazing? How many people? Okay, and Beth, I see your question on intermittent fasting. So yes, that is intermittent fasting has its benefits for sure, but fasting is never a good idea until you get your body topped up on nutrients. Because if you are not well nourished and then you start removing food, then you're also removing nutrients and other things that your body is still lacking. So intermittent fasting and regular fasting can be extremely beneficial for your body. They give your body an excellent time to repair and restore. And but first, you need to make sure that you have very, very well supported your body with nutrients, if that makes sense. But yes, intermittent fasting is helpful, but you've got to get your body to a certain point first. Okay, so now the challenge is, well, what is the human diet? It can be very confusing because there's a battle of the plate going on between your plate, and the food industry. So the food industry is always trying to convince us what's healthy and what's not, right? And there's two ways they can do that. They can make their food look good and someone else's food look bad, right? So you always seen this where eggs are good one day and then eggs are bad and then eggs are good again, right? So this can be really, really confusing. And so it's really hard to, like, if you go Google diet information, you find all sorts of conflicting information because all that is basically marketing and bought and paid for by the food industry. And so there's also a battle of the sugar going on. So an interesting story is back in the 50s and 60s, there was lots of research indicating that that sugar was causing heart disease. So this was really bad for the sugar industry. So they had to do something, right? So they hired 2 Harvard researchers to do this study that would implement fat in heart disease. And they got this study published in the New England Journal of Medicine, because back then you didn't have to divulge your funders. And that pretty much changed the trajectory of the American diet, right? Remember how all of a sudden everything became low fat. And what happens when you take the fat out? The food doesn't taste as good. So what do? They put more sugar and chemicals in that. And that worked out really, really nicely for the sugar industry, right? So you have to really be careful in paying attention to the media and the marketing going out there, because they're not always trying to have your best health in mind. They're really working from a place of wanting profitability for their company. So it can be a little challenging to know what is the human diet. But there's 2 ways that we can try to figure out what is the natural human diet. What does our bodies require? And the first thing is we can go look at the last nomadic group of hunters and gatherers on the planet, and they're called the Hadza Bushmen. And founder of WildFit, Eric Edmeades, has spent the last 10 years spending time with these hunter-gatherers, studying how they eat, how they hunt, studying their lifestyle. And that's really as close as we can get to basically how we survived in nature for most of human history. Because really, human history is really, really long, and grocery stores just came on the scene in a very short period of time, right? So looking back at these people really gives us some clues, and also by looking at the archaeological record can help us determine what our natural human diet is. And Eric Edmeades has been studying those for quite some time. So Basically, we all need the same vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. So humans have a diet. And another thing about the human diet is our bodies are adapted to live through seasons, right? There's a time when berries and fruit are available, and then that season's over, and then they're gone. And then you go into winter, right? So when you're eating lots of fruit and berries and sugar, you're telling your body that winter's coming, right? You've all heard fatten up for the winter. Well, that's exactly right. So when all those things are gone, then we know that winter's coming and there's going to be a lack. So your body knows to store as much fat and hydration as possible to prepare and protect you through the winter. And then after winter, there's going to be a season of growth, lots of shoots and vegetation, and hunting is going to be available. So then there's a time of plenty. And so your body doesn't want to store any more than it has to. So it's going to release all that fat that it stored for the winter, right? Because it no longer needs it. So, you know, that your body is designed to move in and out of these seasons. And that's something that you are not going to see in any other diet program, but that's something that is super, super helpful to know how you can work with how your body works and send the signals to your body, depending on if you're in a season where you want to add healthy weight or you want to lose it or just maintain it. And another thing is, we talked about a little bit earlier, is starving yourself is not fun and it doesn't work. That's right. And so eventually, if you stick with it long enough, if your willpower does hang in there long enough, you will start losing weight. But unfortunately, it's probably not the weight you want to lose, because you're going to lose your bone mass and your muscle mass. And that's not really what you're going for, right? But it's really, really hard to lose weight when you're hungry, and it's not your fault. And the food industry knows exactly how to, they know how to work with your biology and your emotions to try to manipulate you. So it really, really makes it challenging. Like they put kids cereal, they pay extra money to put it at kid eye level, so that they can, you know, cry and throw a fit and get you to buy it, right? And so one of the most, I would say, effective tools that they use is they know how significant your body's craving is for sugar. And they use that to their advantage. Because the way the sugar craving works is you have a very, very significant natural craving for sugar in your body, because fruit and honey were only available for certain periods of time and hard to come by. So you needed to, your body needed to make sure that you got as much of that as possible when it's available. And so that was worked out perfectly in the time. But now, unfortunately, we have sugar around us all year long and in abundance. And so it's really hard to even get away from it. So that's kind of how the sugar industry and the food industry know that if they can get some sugar in their products, then that's going to trigger your natural sugar craving, which is very strong. And one thing that's super interesting is, have you noticed when you go to a nice restaurant and they give you free bread, and you think, have you ever thought, well, that's kind of weird, you know, I'm going to probably eat less. Why would they give me free bread? Because it's going to ruin my meal, and I'm probably going to eat less. But actually, they know the opposite is true. So that bread is going to slow down your digestion, and the sugar in it is going to trigger more hunger. So actually, studies show the restaurants that give you free bread before the meal are actually going to end up, you're going to more likely end up buying dessert. So free bread in exchange for buying dessert. So I thought that was really interesting. And also you're going to find, you're going to be surprised when you start looking, make sure you start looking at the ingredients on your food, in your pantry, in the grocery store. You're going to find it, sugar is everywhere. Ketchup, for instance, sugar is the number 2 ingredient in ketchup. And just a tablespoon of ketchup has 4 grams of sugar. And we all know, we all eat more than a tablespoon of ketchup, because you've got fries and then you've got some more ketchup on your burger, right? So that can really add up. And that's just the condiments, not to mention all the other food that you're eating. Speaking of, One thing that there's a lot of sugar in, of course, are drinks. This graphic here shows you, compares how much sugar is in each one of these products. And water is perfect, no sugar. So that's your best option. But start looking at the labels of the food you buy and make sure you read the ingredients list, because that's going to be the most accurate place to look. Those nutrition labels are highly manipulated to get in just as much as they possibly can without, they manipulate that system with the serving size and everything to make that nutrition label look as good as possible. So make sure you're actually reading the products on the list. And another good thing that's helpful, when you see that your favorite products have sugar in them, don't be sad about that. It's like, oh, darn, I can't eat my favorite stuff, right? Because that sadness emotion often leads you to eat more sugar. But if you get mad and get angry and like, why are they doing this? Why are they trying to manipulate me? Getting mad actually will help you walk away and not buy their products. So that's a nice little trick there. So then you get frustrated with all the sugar in your products, and you think, well, let me go to the health food aisle. And so sometimes the health food is not quite as healthy as you might think. But this one, if we look at it, it looks pretty good. It's only got 5 grams of sugar. It's gluten-free. It has no GMO. It's got some fiber. But then we start looking a little bit closer, and it does have less sugar than its competitor and much less sugar than a candy bar. But if we start looking a little bit closer, let's look at the ingredients. So first of all, you've got peanuts. Peanuts are very inexpensive. They're a cheap filler nut, and they're very susceptible to mold. So you want to be a little bit suspect of something that has peanuts in it. Inulin is a very sweet fiber, so that's going to make it taste even sweeter, but it doesn't add to the sugar content on the nutrition label. And then it's got honey in there, and honey sounds good, right? That's got to be healthier. But actually, you'll notice it just says honey. And when it just says honey, that means it's not the really good, raw, unfiltered honey that has all the nice enzymes and nutrients in it that you're wanting when you eat honey, right? This has been processed, it's been heated, and so all it is just another form of sugar here. Because if it was the nice kind of honey, they would make sure they put that on the label, but it's a lot more expensive. So they just put plain honey, which is basically getting you back to just being sugar. And then you've got soy and lectin and palm kernel oil. And those are fillers that they put in to increase the shelf life. And then you've got plain, there's sugar and glucose, more sugar. And they've also got crisp rice in there, which also turns to sugar in your body. And then there's the natural flavorings. And just so you know about natural flavorings, they just have to put the tiniest drop of, say, natural lemon juice, and they could put a bunch of other chemicals in there, and they can still call it natural flavorings. So it's always something to be suspect about when you see natural flavorings. It's just the way they get away with some things there with that type of labeling. So when you look at labels, look for what's in it. Why are they putting that in there, and what kind of things are in there that are going to help, or they're going to cause me to be addicted to that food. Have you ever noticed when you go into Whole Foods how much sugar is in Whole Foods? It's like you walk in the door and you're bombarded with all the baked goods, and then there's candy bars at the end of every aisle, right? And that's not necessarily the best. Just because it's in there doesn't necessarily mean it's the healthiest option. So now we're going to get to the 6 human hungers, and there's 2 things that I want you to get from this is, why you're eating what you're eating, and also a better way of dealing with it, besides maybe the way you're currently dealing with it. And also I want you to get the idea that WildFit knows what we're talking about. They've brought over 35,000 people through their program in over 130 countries. There's more than 350 coaches in 25 countries. And they've tested these things over and over and over again and tweaked them and looked at the results, and they've had amazing results. And it just works. And so I want you to feel comfortable that what we're talking to you about here, it's been well tested and it does work. So first hunger is, well, first of all, before I get started, does anybody have any questions so far? I know I'm going fast because I don't want to keep you too long, but is everybody, if you have any questions, unfortunately, I can't see you. I need to get another screen or something so I can see everybody's faces. So you could just put them in the chat if you're having any questions so far. So nutritional hunger, and this is the only genuine form of hunger. Okay, good. Beth is good. So this is the only form of hunger. And this is the only one that you really, what this means is that you're low on nutrients. And this is really important. So back, again, our human history goes back very, very, very far. And we're only in the tiny little piece of it. So historically speaking, when our bodies said we needed some nutrients, they said, go eat something. And pretty much anything that we ate, it would be in season, and we knew it was something that would be, we knew what was dangerous for us and things we couldn't eat. So when our bodies said, go eat something, we would eat something and it would all be fine. But unfortunately, these days, when our body signals, go eat something, because there's a nutritional requirement, you're low on a nutrient, what we pick may not have any nutrients in it that we need. There's a lot of food out there that is very low on nutrition and may be completely devoid of nutrition, and especially all the nutrition that our body actually needs. So, so you eat, but let's say you pick a food that doesn't have much nutrition in it, and you eat that, and then your body says, I still need something, eat more. You eat something, it doesn't help, you eat more. So that's how, by eating all these foods, these processed foods, fast foods, some of the foods that, throughout history that we haven't been eating and we've only added into our diet in say the recent, even 50,000 years, those foods don't have the nutrients that our body needs. And so our body keeps telling us to keep eat more, eat more, eat more. And so that can be a problem to weight gain. And so the key is to, when your body's telling you to eat more, make sure that you eat something that is very nutritionally dense. Things like fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, quality meats, and things like that. That'll help satisfy your nutritional hunger. And so the next one we're going to go to is thirst. So thirst is it's a big one. Again, back in the day, when they didn't have water bottles or water fountains, so they got most of their nutrition through their food. So a lot of times our body says, go eat something when we're actually thirsty. But let's say, but we may not recognize that this hunger, this thirst is actually, we may not recognize that the hunger is actually thirst. So we grab food. But if we grab something like, say, Pringles, and there's no water in those Pringles at all, in fact, it requires water to process that, then that's not satisfying our thirst. So our body's going to say, eat more again and eat more again. So that's how we can get into the cycle of keep eating when all our body really wanted was some water. So if you want to do one thing to really help the quality of your life, is make sure that you are staying hydrated every day. That is going to make a huge impact on how you feel, how your muscles work, how your brain functions. Super, super important. And it could really drop off that feeling of hunger that you experience and really drop off your appetite, because your body could just be communicating that you're thirsty. And the next one is variety. So we have a biological need for variety, and that's to make sure that we get all the nutrients that we need, that we don't get stuck eating one thing, because too much of a good thing can become a bad thing. Just like, oxygen is good, but too much can be bad, and water is good, but too much can be bad, and kale is really good, but eating too much can be bad, right? Because if you eat too much kale, it can pull out too much magnesium and you could get cramps and things like that. So we want to make sure we're eating a good variety. But today what happens is we've gotten used to variety in such a way that we want variety at every meal, on every plate. And that can be challenging for your digestive system, because the more complicated variety of foods you have on your plate, the more difficult it is for your body to digest. So really, when you think about variety, it's more of a seasonal variety. You go through a phase of eating certain foods, And then you kind of switch to a new season and eat a different set of foods, and then another season and eat a different set of foods. We don't need super variety at every meal. And then there's the low blood sugar. So let me know in the chat again, how many of you have had some mood issues from time to time, or somebody who does, how everything's totally fine one minute and the next minute you're yelling at your kids or fussing at your husband, and you're thinking in the back of your mind, why am I doing that? So has anybody ever experienced that before? I know I have. And sometimes when that happens, that could be because you have low blood sugar. And the reason is if you're used to burning sugar for your fuel source and all of a sudden you run low on sugar, then you get aggressive. And that's to make sure that you get your fair share of the hunt the next time, right? And there's two primary fuel sources that our body uses. There's more, but two primary sources, fat and sugar. And so when you go to more of a fat burning metabolism, you have more consistent energy and you have more stable moods. And that really helps eliminate this blood sugar hunger. And there's two ways you can do that. And that's by eating healthier types of carbs. Instead of eating the white sugar, the cakes and the pies and things like that, you could do a more healthy carb like root vegetables, sweet potatoes, and things like that. Or just eat less carbs, or take a break from carbs from time to time. That's a helpful way to kind of move into a fat burning. And a second way is to do low intensity exercises, such as a brisk walk or a gentle jog. So that would help resolve that hunger. And then we come to the emotional hunger. So that is very common and it's a huge deal. So I have a little exercise for you guys to do. So, and this one is, we're going to think of an emotion and then think about what food that emotion causes you to go eat. Like, let's say if you're lonely, when you feel lonely, you want to eat chocolate chip cookies or something like that. So everybody put in the chat the food and then a space and then the emotion. Does everybody have one that they think of? Is there any emotion that you have that causes you to go eat a particular food? Like when you're stressed or when you're sad?
Well, since my chat's not working,
okay.
Popcorn when I'm getting sleepy at work.
Nice. That's a good one. Yes, I've been through that many times myself. I tried all sorts of things. I tried gumballs once just when I was pulling all-nighters. Then the dentist was worrying what I was having with my teeth, so I had to switch to something else. So we've got frustrating. When you're frustrated, you go for something sugary. So Matsumi, what emotion causes you to go to these foods? So Pamela, potato chips, procrastination. Happy ice cream, excellent. So let's think about these things for a second. So, stress at work, there you go. Okay, so now imagine you're in this mood that you just listed. And so, do you start feeling better? Put your answer in the chat. Do you start feeling better as soon as you start eating the food? Or B, a little bit after you finish the food? Or C, the second you actually decide to get up from your chair, walk towards the freezer, and go get the ice cream? So A, right at the beginning, B, right at the end, or C, as soon as you decide to eat something. As soon as you go, I'm going to order pizza. Does that change your mood instantly? Or do you have to eat the food first? What's your answer, A, B, or C? Okay, so we have B and A and C. C.
You know what I said? Better center.
Then I'm not sure. So
You don't need to.
yes.
I'm not.
Okay, so you guys, so really, pay attention the next time you go and you decide to have a piece of cake or something that you know you probably shouldn't eat, but you decide to have it anyway. And see if you don't notice that you start feeling better before you even eat the first bite. Because that, that decision to make it, that decision or that permission to eat that food will instantly release feel-good chemicals in your brain. And you probably, if you haven't noticed it before, probably, maybe not always, but probably would start feeling better before you even put the first thing in your mouth. So really, you've linked up this feeling with this food, and really, it's not even the food that makes you feel better. It's actually the decision, because that's when the chemical gets released. So play that little game the next time you find yourself eating one of those foods for a trigger emotion. And the food industry is well aware of how your emotions work, and they are doing their best to buy your emotions and use them against you. And the holiday season is here, basically, and they are a very high peak emotional times, right? And so, like, how is it that chocolate and candy canes and cookies came to equal Christmas, and chocolate bunnies became Easter, right? Where did that come from? Obviously, that came from the food industry. And so they're trying to link up these emotional experiences with different foods, which makes it really challenging, because they know how your emotions work, and they're working to get a hold on those. They're buying your emotions, because we often try to satisfy our emotions with food. So one last little exercise to do with this emotional eating. So now again, once again, picture yourself in this triggering emotion that normally makes you reach for this food we talked about. So you're in this state, you've got this emotion going on. Think, what is a non-food related activity that you can do instead of the food that will help satisfy your emotions and that are not food? Like, for instance, let's say, if you're lonely, it makes you eat cookies. Well, what can you do if you're lonely besides eat the cookies? Maybe you could call a friend or something like that. So there you go, Beth. You can talk to a friend. That's excellent. Any other ideas?
Take a walk.
Good one. Yep. Shopping. Yep. Angry. Oh, workout. Okay. Got it. Yep. See how these are much more beneficial. Just when you become aware of your emotional eating habits and patterns, and you can basically divert those to a more beneficial activity instead, it can really make a difference, because a lot of the reasons we eat are for emotional reasons. Mm-hmm. So, like, I know one of my big things is procrastination. I want to go get up and get a snack when I'm faced with starting something that I don't want to do. It's like, oh, I think I need to eat first. So just over the next few days, really start trying to notice those patterns of, when is it that you're going for the snack or going for the foods? What are you feeling at the time? That becomes really helpful to try to break these patterns and come up with more beneficial, helpful alternatives. And then the last one is the empty stomach hunger, and that is just a feeling. We've linked up empty stomach with hunger. So every time we feel like our stomach is empty, we feel like we should go eat. But actually, that's not the case. In nature that was the case, because if they felt like they were empty, they needed to go eat something. They needed to go find something. But there wasn't necessarily a huge amount available, or they might not even find anything that day. So, we don't need to eat every time our stomach feels empty, because there's always plenty of food available. So it's good for your stomach to be empty from time to time. It gives your stomach a break. It gives your stomach time to heal from various issues like IBS or sensitivities and things like that. So that is the 6 human hungers. And so hopefully by learning about these and being more aware of them, then you can stop and maybe hesitate the next time you feel like you need to go eat something. Is this truly a an actual hunger, or is this a thirst? Maybe you could try drinking some water first. So real quick to recap, nutritional hunger, it's the only true hunger. Thirst, just top up on your water. Variety, think of it as a seasonal variety. Blood sugar, anything that you can do to move to more fat burning metabolism and lifestyle, that's going to help your moods stay more stable and help you have more energy, and it's going to help you with weight loss. And then empty stomach, realize that's just a feeling and not a hunger. You don't need to do anything about that. And then emotional hunger, try to find other ways to satisfy your emotions other than food. And so I'm hoping that by learning this, you guys can take this and you can really start make changes in your life, and it can really help move you towards food freedom. So how do you create lasting results without willpower? And the answer to that is you do it together as a team. So the ancient proverb goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So I wanted to tell you a little bit. Now we've talked about the human hungers. I wanted to tell you about how you can take this further, and you can basically go far beyond this and learn even more and use it to transform your life like I did. So we have lots of stories of people's transformations. You know, here you can see some, and you can just see like on the outside, you know, losing weight and healthy weight is just a byproduct of a healthy lifestyle. And so you can see how these people, by changing their nutrition, it was an automatic result of losing weight. But there's also a lot of other amazing things that happen. People's confidence goes up, their self-esteem goes up, they can drop their medication, allergies go away, seasonal allergies go away. Some of my clients have had asthma, that goes away. They no longer get pneumonia every winter, right? They've had their cholesterol drops. They get amazing reports from their doctor that their MS symptoms are much improved. I mean, this is really exciting. We've had one of the coaches recently had a story where a person who's had AIDS for many, many, many years, their blood numbers normalized. They didn't get rid of the AIDS, but their blood work went back to normal. The doctors were completely shocked. They had never seen this before. So there's really some really exciting results. And actually, we've had tons of success with people who are pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic, basically going back into the normal range. In fact, Eric is in the final stages of writing a book along with one of our fellow coaches who is also a doctor. We have lots of doctors that become coaches so they can help their clients even more. But they're writing a book entitled Post-Diabetic, just because the results have been phenomenal. So many people have been able to come out of that. And the doctor wants to call them pre-diabetic, but you can't really go to pre-diabetic if you've been diabetic. So now you're going to be post-diabetic. So they had to come up with a new term. So it's really, truly life-changing results, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. So they have this program, it's called the 90-Day Challenge. And you know, WildFit is all about freedom. It's about being able to eat what you want, when you want, and not feeling guilt. I know, Beth, you had mentioned feeling guilty, but WildFit is going to teach you how to eat what you want without feeling guilty, because you know how this food would react in your body. You've made a conscious decision of it. And some things you may decide that you have no interest in them. So you're not, so you'll also have freedom to not eat the things that you wish you wouldn't, and you don't feel like you're missing out. So that is really true freedom, when you can eat what you want, and also you have the freedom to not eat what you don't want. So if you guys were interested in the 90-Day Challenge, what you get is, there's a video training program. Eric, who's the founder of WildFit, he's got some pre-recorded videos that will walk you through the program step by step. And you're going to spend the first 2 weeks building the psychological foundation of food freedom. We're going to work on your psychology, because any diet program that isn't working with your psychology is not going to work. Again, it's hard to give things up when it's, your emotions and everything are all tied in as well, because we know willpower only works for so long. And then weeks 3 through 12, they go through each week and help you make breakthroughs, and each week builds on the next, and you learn about seasons, and you move your body's metabolism so that you can be happier and have less cravings. And then in the final week, week 13, we go into great detail of how you can take what you've learned during the 90 days and carry it through for the rest of your life. This is really something that is meant to last a lifetime. There's, you don't need to buy any supplements. You don't need to do any packaged foods. We're just teaching you principles and how to carry this on to meet your own health goals. And so what else we have in the 90-day program is you get weekly live coaching sessions with your group, and we call it with your tribe, because it's, again, you can go farther if you go together. And those turn out to be some of the highlight of the program, because everybody's together. They have fun, you can share stories, you really get connected with your community, and especially during COVID, when people are kind of missing out on some of the social opportunity. It's really a highlight. But I want to tell you something that super, super special that is coming up with my next class, and this has only happened 2 times, and I'm super excited about it. Not only do you get the live coaching sessions with me, you also get to participate in these large group coaching sessions with WildFit's master head coach, Ariel Richards, and she's also a holistic nutritionist. So she has a wealth of information for you. And Eric himself will also be on the calls from time to time. So you'll have an opportunity to talk to Eric, ask him some questions. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people on the call, so not everybody can have an opportunity. But again, it's always entertaining to listen in to anytime that he's on the call. And Ariel is just excellent at what she does as well. So that is offered as an add-on to the program with absolutely no extra charge. And I'm super, super excited about that. And so then we also have a private Facebook group. This is really, really fun. You can share recipes, share wins, and answer questions. And it basically just keeps us connected all during the week. And that's really, really fun. And then also you have the Living Wild Fit ebook, and that's provided to you completely free, and that goes into detail of how to carry what you've learned through the rest of your life and how to live Wild Fit after the 90 days. And then you'll have recordings from all the live sessions. In case you miss one day, you'll be able to watch the recording. So if you're ready for transformation, my next class starts on Monday, January 4th. And just so you know, Wild Fit is not a diet company. They are pioneers in health transformation, and we're here to help you change your behaviors and your habits. And if you're ready for transformation, just think about this. Think about if you keep going on the same path you're on right now, whether it's, maybe you're doing really great right now, but you could get it even better. Or let's say you've been gaining a little bit of weight each year, or your knees starting to get a little bit more sore, and you're not having as much luck working out as you would because your body's starting to hurt a little bit, or you're having a little more symptoms. What's going to happen if you carry that path out for another 5 years? Is that where you want to be? Or what if you made amazing changes to your health, and you all of a sudden you liked what you looked like, you got you have less medication, you have more energy, you have less symptoms, your body is healing. Just think, if you can have this amazing transformation in 90 days, what happens when you carry it out a year, 5 years from now? Just picture, what would be your ideal situation if you could really change your health? And so, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to improve and change your health and make a drastic change to keep you from going down the same path and to get on a new path to health. And so the cost for the 90 days is $397, and that's the complete cost. There's no supplements, there's no powders, there's no prepared meals or anything like that. That's the total payment. And the price is regularly, if you go on the website, it's $895, but I've discounted it significantly because I want everybody to do it. I want everybody to experience this because it's actually truly, absolutely amazing. So, we've talked about all these amazing things, and hopefully they will help you be more aware and more conscious about food freedom and help you get to your goals. But again, if in the next few days or next week you find yourself stopping and thinking, which hunger is this? Or you find yourself reaching for a food that you wish you wouldn't, but you do anyway, and you feel kind of yucky and that sort of thing, or like, how's that going to make you feel? Or if you notice you're starting to look at labels now, or you make a better choice because you notice that you're eating something that maybe because you're thirsty instead of actually hungry. Those should be clues to you that this program works, because they're working with your behavior and your habits and your psychology. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, again, it starts January 4th, and you can sign up at dianeshepard.com, and then I will contact you with payment, and then I'll send you a series of emails that gives you all the logistics and get you everything set up for the program. I'll get you to be able to join, get you to join the Facebook group, and we can get started on that before it starts. But again, that's if you want to take this 90-day program, is if you want to get it to take you to a whole nother level. We've given you some tools to start with tonight, and if you take those and you really start working with them, you should be able to really make some progress. Start paying attention to all these different kinds of hungers, and use the different ways to satisfy those hungers, all except for the nutritional hunger, and that one you're going to just eat nutritional food. So hopefully what you've learned here tonight is going to be super helpful for you. And also, everybody that's on the meeting tonight, I'm going to send you the 65 names of sugar, so that you're going to be able to look at, help you with the labels, so you'll know how to read the labels and be on the lookout for the different forms of sugar. But also, I have other exciting news. So if you go ahead and sign up within, let's say, this weekend, and by the end of Monday, I'm going to give you a super big bonus, and you can sign up a person that's in your household absolutely for free. So that's going to be great. You guys can work together. But let's say you don't have someone in your household that you want to do that with. You can sign up with a friend, and each of you gets $50 off your registration fee. And so now I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we can do a time of questions and answers. Thank you guys it's nice to see you again. I'll have to work that out for the next one. So anyway, so again, I hope you found that helpful. I hope you can actually take the tools and start using them right away. And then if anybody is interested in taking it to the next level and really transforming their body over the next 90 days and for the rest of their life, I would love to have you join me January 4th. But first, let's do some questions. Does anybody have any questions? I know I was going fast, but we're already at an hour, so. Is that it? Okay, wonderful. Okay. Well, and if you guys want any more additional information, like, you can go to my website, dianeshepard.com, and it's got a kind of a recap of a lot of the pieces and parts of WildFit. And you can always reach out to me, and we can set up a 30-minute phone call and we can talk through it and see if this is going to be a good fit for you. So.
Well, you know, I think, Diane, the best part about all of this that I think is, you know, I'm not ashamed to say I'm 58 years old and I'm not on any medications.
Yay!
And, you know, I take pretty good care of myself, but I want to continue that. My goal is to not get on medication. So I think it's very important to become more and more knowledgeable of things we can do to keep those things and toxins out of our systems. So I thank you for this information. It's very, very helpful.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay.
That was really good information. Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you. And in the 90 days, we do go over a lot of information, this was just, of course, you can only cover so much in an hour. But again, we have, like the first 2 weeks, we meet 2 or 3 times a week for an hour at a time. And so you get a lot of information there. And then the weeks 3 through 12, we'll meet twice a week. Again, more information. And Eric has all these videos that give you a lot of detail. There's frequently asked question videos. So there really is a lot of information to learn. And, you know, and I'm here to actually help you make sure you're picking up the important parts and making sure that you learn how to carry out the instructions that Eric is giving you, kind of help kind of hold your hand, make sure that you stay encouraged, help you to realize your wins and your progress, because that's super important. I don't know if any of you, know, I'm on my own health journey right now, and one of the big things that helps me make progress is noticing my progress. And Beth works for the chiropractor that I've mentioned a lot in my videos that has been so helpful. And he's brilliant at pointing out progress. And so that really, really, really makes a difference. So we talk about that a lot in WildFit, because that, you know, that sets your mind up for success, right? If you're thinking about negative thoughts, it becomes very difficult to move forward. So, you know, we talk a lot about mindset. It's not just about the food. We talk about mindset, and we talk about how you use your words. You know, when you say, gosh, I can't have that. I can't have that. It just, you feel bad when you say, I can't have that. But when you say something like, I'm choosing not to have that right now to, you know, for the benefit of my body, that becomes empowering. You are choosing not to do something instead of being the victim of can't having. So we really try to work with your mind and how it works, and really set you up for success like that. So it's really, really fun. So, and I'm kind of a like a science geek. I love it. So I really enjoy picking up all the little details of the program. So I try to share those with you as much as possible. But again, we've finished right on time. So if anybody has any more questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I will let you guys go. And thank you so much for joining me. And I guess, you know, just the testimonies of the people that I've seen go through this program is absolutely amazing. And it makes me almost want to cry when I go through it, because, you know, I've had so many people tell me that their life was different now and it's changed forever, and they're so glad they did the program. And, you know, so this is beyond rewarding for me. And I guess I just want you guys to experience this for yourselves as well, because it really does work and it's really a big deal. And so I hope that if nothing else, if you use the tools that we talked to you about today, it's going to make a big impact. Drink your water. So, and if you ever have any questions, just reach out. You can message me or get a hold of me however you can. I'd love to help in any way. So,
Thank you.
and if that's it, I will say good night, and you guys have an excellent evening, and I will see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And bye-bye.